internship or past work experience, that was really cool to kind of be hands-on with. Afterwards, I found out my favorite part was definitely the weekly presentations. So you guys do these weekly, I'm sure Justina, you guys are still doing presentations, these weekly presentations that you do in front of the management, in front of C-level executives at Fulton County. Even the monthly presentations or just presentations that you do on the Capstone project as a whole at the end. This is huge, right? People get paid a lot of money today to learn and be taught how to do that. So when you walk into an organization, you say, hey, I did this at Capstone for my Capstone project at Fulton County government. This is huge. It teaches, it shows them that, you know how to talk in front of people, you know how to really verbalize value that you brought in, right? So even, you could sit on your ass half the week, but if you did something really valuable for those 2 days, if you're able to say it the right way and explain it the right way and show what you did, that goes a long, long way rather than just working really, really hard and then getting to the end of the week and they ask you what you did and you're like, well, I did so much, I don't know how to explain it to you. That was one of my favorite parts about being part of the Capstone program after I actually attended the program. How has being in the Capstone program helped you in your career? That's the number one thing, right? You gotta be able to talk, you gotta be able to speak. And I know speaking comes a little naturally to me. I did speech and debate for 4 years while I was in high school. So it wasn't that much difficult for me, but you also got to learn how to speak with people who may not know how to speak, right? You got to be able to sit with a technical person who may be on a development side of a project and actually coordinate a project and speak together and make it fluid, sound good, organized, well kept, especially if you're at the forefront of client facing, right? No one wants to buy anything from anyone who they feel like doesn't know what they're talking about. So you definitely got to have the cohesiveness as a team. And that's really helping me in my career, just kind of showing that not only can I handle my own weight, but I can really actually work with other people who may not have the strengths in these categories, but I find a way where we can complement each other. What advice do I have for current Capstone students? Number one advice I always tell everyone, Capstone student or not, just as a life individual, know your worth. And I think Justina for this, right? Like, I think Justina one time in her office was like, Muta, if you don't get paid this X amount, you're getting underpaid. And I thought of something maybe $10,000, $20,000 less. And I was like, wow, okay, just Justina sees me like this. I need to start having this kind of opinion of myself. So know what you're worth. Don't short sell yourself, especially when you're starting your career. You'll find out that once you have the job, especially, in this economic climate that we're in today, it's really a big deal just to hold a job, right? So being able to get a job and hold a job is one thing, but you also are going to have a hard time advancing if you start at the bottom, right? So you want to shoot for the stars, land on the moon, know your worth, and apply for jobs that either you're going to love what you do or you're going to look at your paycheck and love what you do. And I'm one of those guys that looks at my paycheck and loves what I do. Even though I love my day-to-day, money is a big influencer in what occupation I take. So look into that because you want to be able to advance your career as fast as possible. One of my mentors, she tells me that, every 2 years you need to look for a major career move. You need to look for a major positional move. In order to do that, you need to constantly be shooting for the top. You need to constantly be asking to be on projects that they'd be like, why the hell would we let you on when you just joined, right? But then you get on these projects, you get this experience, you speak value to it, just constantly know your value, know your worth, and constantly be able to speak to your value. And that would be my advice for current Capstone students. And I hope I covered everything, Justina. I love to ramble. You can make me talk all day, but if you guys have any questions, please let me know.
Muta, can you also talk about your situation? Because you had a very specific situation within your team. Can you talk about it? Because I want to make sure at the beginning they can understand that dynamic, what it takes to work as a team.
So one of those things that I said that one of my favorite parts, or one of the things that really helped me in my career was learning how to work with other individuals, right? I'll be frank with you, right? I'll try to keep my language to a minimum, but you can't just sit on your ass. You can't half-ass everything in life, right? If you're going to be in this program, you're already about to graduate. You're at the cusp. You should be used to doing what you're told, doing what you're asked for, and doing even more than that. So if you're, for me, I was on a team. I'm a gun-ho kind of guy. I get a mission in front of me. I get a direction in front of me. I'm going for it. You're coming with me, whether you like it or not. But I learned that's not how you function in a successful team, right? You got to know strengths and weaknesses. In our particular scenario, there was someone who was in a team lead position that, her strengths weren't necessarily decision-making, direction, time management, these sort of things. Her strengths were more on I'd like to say on a development aspect, right? She's in the back, a more technical person, very, very knowledgeable, very smart. Just didn't really her soft skills weren't developed yet. So being in a position like that, I mean, I saw what was happening and I saw the pressure that was kind of overwhelming this team member. And so I kind of stepped up and took the team lead position. And, later on, once we had a little more direction, once we all kind of fit ourselves into the right places, right, into the right pieces of the puzzle, that's when we were fluid. Every week we had, maybe the best team presentation, some of the best and Capstone project. The first 3 weeks, shit show, right? We didn't get anything done. Lollygagging half the time, sitting around waiting for someone to pull up and tell us what to do. It was very stagnant, and quite frankly, if we had a job, we would have lost it at that time, right? So that's
Justina had to make your presentations, correct?
The what? I'm sorry?
Justina had to step in and make your presentation.
Yeah. But Justina's a lifesaver, so she'll come in and save you. You'd be surprised. I mean, if that happens in your actual career, Justina's not going to be there to help you out like that. But yeah, she definitely had to step in more than once. And more than once, she had to kind of put her foot up her ass and get us moving too. It's good to have someone like Justina that looks out for you, because sometimes she's going to seem like she's coming off on you hard, but you're going to be very, very glad that she came off on you hard, because once you get to a real career opportunity, you're going to be ready. You'll be prepared and you'll be pushing yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Muta. Since you need to leave at 3:30, I'm going to open for all the questions. Anyone has a question from the attendees, please raise your hand.
Don't be shy. I can't bite.
Okay, wonderful. Leo, okay. And Terrence, you're going to be next.
So I'll go ahead and ask a couple questions. So for that, first of all, hello, my name's Leo. It's great meeting you.
Yes,
so with the, as far as I heard one of your teammates that her communication skills were a little bit lowered, did that mean that you were put on the spot a lot more often? And how did you get around that to be able to successfully use your team to show that you guys are a very strong, cohesive unit?
So if I understand your question correctly, you're asking me that, if my team members' lack of capabilities required me to be more on the spot. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, was that the situation you were put in?
Really, the situation we were putting right off the rip is we're trying to take people based on their major and create these teams, right? And we're saying, hey, you're going to be the process innovation guy, you're going to be the data science girl, you're going to be the accounting person, So when you originally start off in that situation, of course, the soft skills are matched up, right? The communication of the team, the balance, the reason why so many companies have what are called Thirsty Thursdays and after hours is all because of that communication. So initially when we started off, we just didn't know each other, right? We're brand new. We don't really know each other. We haven't spent any time together, and we're given a daunting task at the beginning. It seems like it's so big. How can we possibly complete this with no real idea to start? And so a lot of people, they kind of close up a little bit, and that's what was happening to our team lead in that situation. It's not that she wasn't capable of being successful. She just kind of didn't know where to start. And she wasn't ready for that kind of responsibility to be a team lead. Was she 5-6 weeks afterwards? Of course, right? After actually building her experience and getting used to that pressure, then she was able to. But I mean, does that answer your question, Leo?
Muta, can I help you with answering that question? So Leo, even though she was lacking those skills at the beginning, those soft skills and presentation skills, there was no such an instant that she was not presenting during those weekly sessions.
Right.
Actually, she was learning from other members. And we divided, because that was my team, so I can answer for that question very detailed. Everyone had defined slides which they were presenting. So there was no such a thing that Muta was presenting entire presentation.
Yeah. No, that's great. I'm glad to hear how you overcame that challenge and how you were able to influence other people in your group to become better than who they were. So really appreciate that. The whole point
of the team.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you have another question, Leo?
No, that was it.
I appreciate it. Any other questions?
Okay, Terrence.
Hi, Terrence Slayton, CISO, Fulton County. One of the things
Terrence,
that,
I'm going to promote you as a panelist so people can actually see your face and know who you are.
all right.
His role is very important in Fulton County.
Hi. All right. So one of the things that I've enjoyed through this program is the work effort and the interaction we have with you all. And the thing that is most important is how can we, from your perspective, improve the program? What were things that you saw that were either lacking or you would have wanted more of?
So one thing I just appreciate Terrence you asking this question. So just so I can clarify, you're just asking if there's anything that could be done better or something that we enjoyed that we want more of, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I remember on the previous panel's discussion, I brought this up, was one of the biggest things, you know, especially in my occupation, the job that I wanted to get once I came out of college. And by the way, I didn't get right away. So I think I saw a question about that. But one of the things that I really saw that was hugely beneficial, and we do this, I mean, they pay people tens of thousands of dollars to get mock versions of this, is actually going out and talking to clients. One thing that we had the opportunity to do is talk to vendors that were possibly going to be working with us on the PDF conversion when it came to accessibility options, right, Justina?
Yes, with Adobe.
Adobe. So we actually got to go into these offices. We got to see how accessibility options are given and what requirements are needed for government. But really what the main thing was, we got to sit at the table where the vendor was talking to the Fulton County representative and negotiating an agreement, right? And that experience was maybe we did that once or twice throughout the entire program, which is great. It came at the perfect timing. I would just say that is huge. That is absolutely, you can't get enough of it, right? So as many times as you can put a summit, a capstone student in front of in an environment where they see a client interaction, that is huge. Because when it comes down to it, if you want to get a job, what kind of job do you want to get? If you're getting computers, you're either going to be what I like to say the back end and the front end, right? You're going to be either in the nitty grits, the technical, or you're going to be talking to people, and you're going to be having to explain this, and you're going to have to see what kind of, you're going to have business partners, you're going to have competitors, you're going to have vendors, you're going to have clients, and you got to know how to navigate this ecosystem. And when you first get into it, it's scary, it's terrifying, right? You're a tiny fish taken out of a puddle, thrown into the ocean, told to figure it out. But you know, with the help with Justina and Fulton County, I think that was huge for us to be able to have that opportunity.
Thank you, Muta. Thank you, Terrence. Any other questions for Muta? Please raise your hand. Okay. Jessica or Kirby, do we have any questions in the chat?
I think I see one by Gilberto Herrera. So did I get the job right after Capstone? No, I did not, Gilberto, just to answer your question. I love that part of the story too, because I remember when I sat in Justina's office, I told her I wanted this job, and this is the job I'm going to get. And I think Justina was one of the few people in my life who didn't say no. She's like, all right, go for it, right? But everyone else in my life was like, no way, like get out of town. There's no way you can have that job, not with that GPA, not with that experience, not with that ugly mug. No one's gonna hire you, not for this. Go get something that, you know, is an entry-level position. Go get something that pays you less, is what everyone says, because no one wanted to hear that kind of salary for a starting position. And I applied for it. I got a recommendation to the same person that actually got me the recommendation at State Farm, small world. And he ended up going to IBM. So he got me a recommendation to IBM. I jumped through the hoops. I got all the tests done. I did everything. I just had a really low graduating GPA from Georgia State. So I initially was denied and waitlisted. I actually only have 2 minutes left. I have to hop off, but I was waitlisted. And once I was waitlisted, I emailed the recruiter that I was in contact with every week for the first 6 months, every month for the next 6 months. And while I was emailing him, kept in constant contact, that's when I decided, hey, I'm not going to just sit on my ass and hope for a handout. I'm going to go out and do something. So when someone asks me, what have you been doing since you graduated? I don't say, so that's why I decided to go to a boot camp and get a certification in web development. I don't code anymore. I can definitely read as much code as you can throw in front of me. I know 16 different languages, front end, back end, middleware, but I don't code at all, right? That was just something I needed to get under my belt. So I didn't seem like I was doing nothing while I waited. And lo and behold, the recruiter ended up being the hiring manager and got me a slot in the Atlanta hub, which is, it's luck, but there's a saying my mentor has: luck favors the prepared, right? So, there's never going to be a perfect time, perfect opportunity. You got to chase it with everything you have, and someone out there will see it and they'll be like, okay, you know what? Maybe this guy on paper isn't all that, but I love the tenacity. I love the hunger. We need this person. That's what it really takes, is just don't give up. Don't listen to anybody else either. Like, know your worth.
And Muta, how many times did you call him?
I called him every week for the first 6 months, and then every month for the next 6 months. And he ended up being the head hiring manager, which is struck of luck, right? He could have just been a recruiter, but he had been a recruiter for 3 years, and he was a recruiter for my reference. It was just keeping in contact, constantly nabbing him. So he knew, like, you know what? I got this one slot open. This guy's been on my ass for a year. I'm going to give it to him, and I got it. So, wow, it's hard to believe, but it's well fought.
Thank you, Muta. Appreciate you.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for having me, Justina. I was so sorry to have to hop off so early, but please keep in contact. You guys, I'm sure Justina will give you my LinkedIn or whatever. If you guys have any questions,
You can find Muta on the FCCOE. He's part of the group.
Yes, I'm on the group. I have my LinkedIn there. And if you guys have any troubles with hiring or anything, you're looking on how to apply, looking at resumes, I'd be more than happy to go through it with you. Just shoot me a message on LinkedIn. But you guys have a run for the rest of your day, all right?
Wonderful. Thank you, Muta.
Thanks, Justina.
Cesar, you are next.
So about me, my name is Cesar B. Saroque Jr. I graduated from Georgia State University with a bachelor's in computer information systems in 2019. And currently I work as a client support associate in my family's small business. So like I was part of the 2019 learning management systems team at Fulton County. And in my time there, my team and I, we would gather requirements for the learning management system software that we would gather details about. Say we interviewed four different key departments, and they would tell us information about say what would they like for the learning management system to have, and also how would they like the processes to be automated, and we also had the chance to like what Muta said, we had weekly presentations and monthly presentations, which really helps develop my storytelling skills and also my ability to present to different audiences. And one of my favorite parts.
Sorry for cutting you off, but I just want to mention here, like, Cesar's final presentation was phenomenal.
Thank you very much, Justina.
The work that he put into presenting is just beyond and above. We were so proud of you with Chad.
Thank you, Justina. You and Chad helped a lot with our project, and we're so grateful for all the advice you and Chad gave us during that time. And as for the first question, what was my favorite part of being part of the Capstone program? Well, my favorite part was having the opportunity to work on important, this really important and really cool project, which was our learning management systems project. And it was my favorite part about it also was that we could also create impact with it. And we learned so many different things about, say, process mapping and the presentation skills. And it was just a lot of learning, and I really enjoyed it. And another favorite part is with the networking opportunities that we had with with our fellow team members, and we can also network with other team members of other teams, and also the Fulton County employees as well. And also this for the second panel question is how has being in the Capstone program helped me with my career? Well, the Capstone program has really helped me with my, as I mentioned before, it's really helped me with like my storytelling abilities. Say like how I could build on my plan, on my team and I's plan to recommend a certain learning management system, and how to tell a story upon that, using the recommendations that we gathered, and also all the insights that we gathered from our research and stakeholder interviews. And it's also really helped me develop my ability to speak with different audiences. And as I mentioned before, it's also helped me in my career because it led to a lot of networking opportunities, and also the opportunity to work in a real life important project to create impact. And as for the third panel question, what advice do I have for current Capstone students? Now, I would say that networking is like super important. Like by networking, it's how like doors to new opportunities can open for you. And like on that note, if you were to plan to say, for example, connect with somebody on LinkedIn, I also learned that personalizing invites is really important too, because it helps you like sort of stand out. And yeah, like networking it opens the door to new opportunities. And also another advice I would give is like volunteering is really important too. Like it can really help out develop your skills, and it can also you can also add that important additional skill sets to your resume. And just like networking, volunteering can also help create new opportunities for you. And yeah, I'm open to any questions.
Cesar, actually, I think we're gonna have two other panelists answer all those questions and introduce themselves, and then we're gonna open for questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine too.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thelma, do you wanna go next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Thelma Nara, and I graduated from Chattahoochee Tech last year. Well, 2 years ago now. Wow, time flies. And I have graduated with an associate degree in computer programming. And while I was at Fulton County, I worked with the team that basically restructured or rebuilt the county website. And that was the project that we were on largely. So I wasn't Capstone, but I was an intern. So there's a bit of a difference between those two. But also being an intern, we had a lot of real hands-on experience working with the county and the vendor, and just I got to be a part of a lot of the process that went into creating the website, or redesigning the county website. I'm not much of a talker, so I'm going to wait until there are questions, but I'll answer the panel questions that I have on the screen so far. What was my favorite part about being a part of the Capstone program? So I guess I would answer this based on
As an intern, yes.
Internship program, yes. My favorite part of being on the internship program was, again, like I said, the hands-on experience, getting to do a lot of stuff in real time. Because when you're in school, they teach you a lot of the theoretical aspect of it. Although going to a technical college, I did a lot of hands-on programming. But then the other aspect, which is the front end aspect of web app and all of that, I got to do while I was on this project. So most of my formal education was in the back-end programming aspect, but Fulton County gave me the opportunity to have some experience with the user experience part of web applications and all of that. And then of course the team that I worked with, from the other interns to Justina, who was in charge of all of the interns, of course, and Capstone. I don't know how she does it. To the the other people in the department that we were working with, because I wasn't working directly with the IT group. We're working with the
as a liaison.
yeah, we're working as a liaison with I'm drawing a blank. What's the name of the department?
First IT, Thelma.
There you go. So yeah, so everybody was, and they gave us a lot of latitude. They gave us a lot of, because I guess one of the things that I enjoyed about being on that particular project was the fact that the team we were working with recognized our strengths, in terms of our technical background, and gave us a lot of room to really use, to really they gave us a lot of freedom. We weren't restricted in how involved we were and how much we were able to participate. And in fact, one of the things I enjoyed most was we were learning with them, and we were also teaching while we were learning. So it made the experience even that more, it made it more valuable for me personally, because, you learn better when you're able to assimilate and regurgitate what you're learning, to be able to teach somebody else so that they can do what you're able to do. And so for me, that was very fulfilling. I had a lot of opportunity to come up with how-to guides and, different things like that. And some of that is helping me even now in my, in my job. So I guess that segues into the second question. How has been in the internship program helped in your career? So some of the things I did while I was an intern, learning on the fly, and just being thrown into the the deep end of it and learning as we were going, kind of transferred. I was able to transfer some of that into my real life work experience, because I started working right out of internship, and tomorrow actually will make it my first year anniversary, since I've been with the company that I'm with now. And what happened was I started working with the company in March, on March 2nd, and then 2 weeks later, COVID happened, right? And so I pretty much had just like 1 week of training and then 1 week of being on, with my teammates before I had to start working from home. And I've been working from home ever since. So that kind of threw me, a little bit in the deep end, having to learn on the fly and learn with limited resources. And so having that experience in the internship, having that experience of jumping in when things are, kind of moving very fast and changing quickly, and being able to adapt and being able to learn and being able to, pick things up quickly, that kind of helped me navigate when I started my job and had to face all these different challenges. So it was a real it was boot camp for me, basically. The internship was boot camp for me, basically, because it kind of prepared me for that, and it prepared me to go into those kind of situations with a positive mindset, the mindset of, okay, it's challenging, but it's a fun kind of challenging where I can get through this and I can learn, and it will make me even better for it. And that's kind of showing now, because a lot of my colleagues and my boss keep telling me, you really work well under pressure, the way you kind of just jumped in and taught yourself a lot of things. I'm just now doing some training that I probably should have done way back. But at the same time, I would ask for give me the tough stuff to do, because I feel like the tougher it is, the faster I learn. If you give me something that's just blur, I don't feel as challenged, because I'll just knock it out and I'm like, okay, what next? So it made me want to learn more. And
stop. Hey, stop.
And that's
Hey,
kind of gets noticed too. That kind of gets you noticed to where people can see that, okay, this person has a lot of potential. So I say all that to say, while you're in the Capstone program, for some of you, it might be easy breezy. For some of you, it might be a little bit challenging, but embrace it. Even if it seems like it's extremely challenging, you're doing something that's relatively new to you, don't shy away from anything that looks like it's going to be challenging. Like if you're not used to public speaking and you have to do the presentations, don't shy away from it. It looks like a challenge, but it's going to come in real handy in the real world, in the real work environment, and doing it now will prepare you for, when you have to do it, because it's your job, so, and then the other question, what advice, well, I guess that segues into the advice that I have. That segues into the advice that I have for you guys is, whatever project you're working on, whatever it seems, even if it seems challenging, even if it seems like you're completely out of your element and it's not something that, that comes easy to you, those are the kind of challenges you want to really embrace, because if you can overcome those kind of challenges in Fulton County, where you have all the support that you can possibly ask for. I mean, you have Justina, you have your teammates, you have the sponsors, and every other support personnel that you can possibly have. Ask questions. Never stop asking questions. Never stop. If there are 10 things that need to be taken care of and there's 3 of you to take care of it, don't hesitate to take the bigger portion of it, because that's what's going to prepare you for the real world. That's what's going to make you even more, able to face the unusual or the uncommon when you get into a work environment, and you're going to be glad for it. Develop that hunger and thirst for facing the things that seem like they are the most, challenging, I guess. And rely a lot on the resources that you have. Take advantage of every resource. And when I say resource, I don't just mean the paper resource or the technical resource, the human resources that you have. Because if there's one thing Justina is good for, she will help you prepare for interviews. That much I can tell you. And she will give you the hard stuff. Like, she will give it to you straight. And that's going to really prepare you for when you start, interviewing. And don't wait till the last minute to start interviewing. Whether you have 6 more months or 1 more year ahead of you, start interviewing now. You're not interviewing to get a job. You're interviewing to get prepared for when you want to start getting the jobs. You don't want to wait till that last minute. Have as many interviews under your belt as possible before you, get to the point where you actually want to start interviewing for real.
Thelma, can you elaborate how that helped you to find a job?
So for one thing, because I remember the first interview that I did, I wasn't prepared. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. Like, Justina helped me to work on my resume and all of that. And it's not like I didn't have work experience before, but nothing in the technical field, and so she helped me, to update my resume and all of that. But when I did the actual interview, I would say, even though I did some research online, looking at questions online and trying to anticipate what kind of questions would be asked, I still wasn't really prepared when I got on the phone, because the first interview was a phone interview. I wasn't really prepared and I didn't exactly do very well. So one of the things that Justina would do with me is she'd set time aside. I would, let her know, ask her when she'd be available, send an invite to her calendar and schedule time to sit with her so she can interview me, like, how they would ask me questions. And then she would ask me questions, I would answer, and then she would kind of, help beef up my answers and all of that. And so when I did my interview with the current job where I'm at right now, the interview was the first phone interview was a little bit unexpected. Like, I just thought I was waiting for somebody to call me to schedule a time to speak with, whoever was going to interview me first before I would speak with the IT, the supervisor of the IT department. No, got on the phone. It was the supervisor of the IT department, But even though I wasn't expecting it to be an interview. It ended up being an interview, but I was ready. Because some of the questions that he asked me were some of the things I'd already practiced with Justina while she was preparing me for a completely different interview. But just the one of the major things that she impacted to me is, how to kind of prepare mentally and just not be anxious, but like, be able to answer as if you're not, because if you do some research online and look at interview questions online, there's a tendency for you to want to cram those answers and just, produce them mechanically. But one of the things I learned from her is how to answer the questions in a conversational way, but in a way that is I don't know the word to use. Yes, natural. So, and that really came in handy for me. So that's why I said take advantage of that resource. Justina is, I don't know how she manages her time, but she's always doing 1 million things at the same time. But one thing I know is she'll put you on her calendar if you ask her to make time for you. So take advantage of that.
Thank you, Thelma. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have Nate. Do you want to go next? And then we have Sadna.
Sure. Hey everybody, my name is Nate Harris. I was an intern in the digital transformation business aspect, which basically means I was kind of Justina's right-hand man, helping out with the internship program, as well as I floated around for a couple of capstone projects. A little bit about me. I originally graduated from the University of Georgia with a journalism degree in 2018, spent a year as a journalist, decided I wanted a career change, went to Georgia State to turn my minor in computer science into a major. At that time, I got an internship at Fulton County, and like I said, worked with Justina to document a couple things about the Capstone program, and the internship program, as well as helped with a variety of different projects in different areas, which was a lot of fun to kind of get to, touch a bunch of different projects and help out in a bunch of different areas. Let's see, favorite part of the Capstone program or the internship program for me probably was the fact that I, probably a little bit unique to my position, but I was able to kind of float around and help with different things. So some of the projects, which I don't know what state they're in because COVID probably halted them, but some things having to do with iPads for paperless meetings or kiosk feedback for customer satisfaction surveys. And then I helped out with a couple of the Capstone programs, the texting program, the PDF conversion. There was one that they were doing machine learning for the court system. So it was a lot of fun to be able to kind of float around between all those different projects. But I guess something that everybody would get to embrace, just the overall experience, good teammates, good. Justina's a fantastic person and a helpful resource and just an all-around great person to talk to, even outside of, if you want to talk about even non-work related stuff, Justina's great to have a conversation with. The internship program helped me with my career. Like I said, I was in the middle of switching my career. I was going back to school to change and go into a completely different, career path and different work area. And the experience at Fulton County definitely was not only something I could put on my resume that helped me, actually get experience before I go out and get a real job, but it taught me a lot about working in, working in technology, working in that kind of environment where communication is very important. It's not just about the project you're working on, but it's about the people involved in it and the clients you're serving, and keeping that kind of open communication between all the different parties to make sure that your project succeeds. And advice I have for Capstone is probably that. I mean, Thelma and Muta and Caesar gave great advice, and I kind of say all of those. Mine's not too different. It's communication, basically. It's doing what kind of all of them did in a way, constantly keep up with your teammates, keep up with, if you're trying to get a job, keep up with the hiring manager or the whoever you're in contact with there. And also just make yourself visible. If you're doing something at work, maybe don't gloat about it, but make sure that what the work you're contributing is visible. Make sure that people are aware of what you're doing and what you're contributing. And that makes it a lot easier when you're, maybe looking to get a raise or something, and you can point to what your what you have contributed and what your worth is to the company. So I'd say that.
Nate, do you want to let them know where do you work and how this internship help you to find a job?
Yes. Okay. So I forgot about that. Yeah. So I'm a software developer at Force 5. It's a company down in Miami that we build technical solutions for energy companies. And like I said, I was in the middle of changing my career. I had went back to school to pursue a full bachelor's degree in computer science. I really enjoy computer programming, and that's what I do for my day job. And I wasn't necessarily doing a lot of computer programming at Fulton County, but it was giving me that experience of working in a technical environment. Actually, a really good kind of stopgap between my career as a journalist and my career in tech is, I was in the IT department, but I was not necessarily doing code all the time. It was a lot more of communication, project management. So it was a good balance between the two as I kind of shifted my career. And Justina pointed out to me and made it very clear that my communication skills were a benefit. It was something I was thinking I was just kind of going to leave entirely as I shifted my careers, but it's actually something that Justina said, no, lean in on that. That's something that's really important in any field, is the ability to communicate well.
Thank you, Nate. Sadna, you ready?
Hi, yeah. Hi, Justina. I'm sorry I joined in a little late. I was
okay. We understand. Real life.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm Sadhna Kanur, and I was a Capstone. I was working with Justina's team as a Capstone intern. A little bit about myself. I started my career as a quality assurance engineer back in 2013. And it spanned over about a little over 6.5 years. And then after that, I decided to pursue my master's at Georgia State University. I completed my master's in information systems cybersecurity, and I graduated in December 2020. I was working as a Capstone intern from September 2020 to December, and it has been a great experience. What was my favorite part about being a part of the Capstone project? I would definitely say we got to interact with the judge and the legal manager, and that's something you don't get to do often, right? It was such a cool experience talking to the judge and talking to the litigation legal manager there, and helping them come up with these basic solutions that would really help their day-to-day activities. I think it was by far my most favorite part about being a part of the Capstone project. How has Capstone project really helped me in my career? I think communication, and basically what I learned was I have had a lot of experience, but there are times where you have to interact with non-technical folks, and when you are really technical about things, and when you really start badgering them with technical details, that's something they wouldn't really understand. And what I learned was how to make it really simple for them, and how to and because they're the clients after all, so it was very important for us to understand that they didn't have the required technical background. And I learned that. And even in my projects, there are going to be clients which are not too technical, and they expect things to be simplified for them. So that's one thing that really helped me in this like in the project. One advice I would have to give the current capstone: you must reach out to Justina for her input, and have your resume reviewed by her. And any questions that you might have, I think you must reach out to her. She's absolutely on point. I remember I had this conversation with Justina. She was reviewing my resume, and we were kind of having a mock interview. And I have this habit of saying when I speak a lot, and that's when she pointed out that that's something I need to work on. And these small things, you never know how important these are. And Justina helped me with these small things. And my advice would be definitely make use of Justina's expertise, and keep in touch, have that networking, and enjoy yourselves while you are at the Capstone project, and you'll have a lot of fun.
Thank you, Sadna. Okay, now we're going to open the floor for questions. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you all. There you go. So I don't have to talk to myself. Wonderful. If any of the attendees have a question for the panelists, please raise your hand. There's a question. Terrence.
Terrence.
Go ahead, Terrence. Thank you.
Hi. My question is always the same. It's all about improvement. So this is everyone on the panel. What can Fulton do to improve the program? You know, from your perspectives, because each one of you worked on a different portion of the program. So you had different, aspects that you worked with in Fulton County. So I'm expecting you probably, hopefully, you all have a different perspective, or if you all start singing the same thing, then we really know what we need to work on. But I'm curious, what is it that you can see that we can do to improve the program? Ladies first.
I'll take the question, Terence. Well, it was a great experience. One of the things that I thought could have been better is the integration between teams. So I was working as a part of a very large team. I think that integration between the various, like we worked in silos, and there were times where we, really had those last minute calls to, have everything in place. So I think that's one thing that could have been, better. But apart from that, I think it's been a great experience.
Nathan, go ahead.
Okay, fine. I mean, obviously, I was in the internship program, which is a little bit different in how it works from the Capstone program. I guess so. I'm a little removed from the Capstone program, but from what I saw, it seemed like some of the projects the Capstone students were doing, there's just a little bit of it's just the nature of the Capstone program, the fact that a whole new batch of people come in every 4 or 5 months. It seems like there's some times where the progress is kind of stunted a little bit on any given project because the first maybe month or two is kind of rehashing. Yeah, the new group is rehashing basically what the old group did at the end. So that kind of makes it a little harder for a project to progress a long way over the course of the semester. I don't know what you can necessarily do about that. I just know some of those projects have been going on for several semesters, and they may not necessarily be going at the speed they should be going. But like I said, I don't know what necessarily the solution for that would be.
Well, I really enjoyed my experience in the Fulton County Capstone program, and as for it was really enjoyable, my experience, and I'm still quite thinking like how, like, what I could say to improve on. I guess I would say that to say sort of like add more like, I guess I would say to like add some more opportunities to say like maybe like sort of like like more like say like a resume review both at the beginning and at the end, so that would help that would really help like the Capstone students, like say like how they can use the experience that they gained throughout the program, and then how can they use those experiences to like polish their resume from beginning to end.
That's a good point here. Maybe we can have someone for the team building. Actually, I can bring one of my career builder friends. So that's a good point. Thank you everyone for answering this question. Next one is Leo.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Leo.
Hello.
I have a question specifically for Caesar.
Mhm.
So Justina kept going on about how great your final was. I got to hear about it. What'd you do? What happened? What were you presenting? And how did it captivate through Fulton County so well that Justina is willing to put such a high remark on you?
Well, throughout the project, we sort of, for the presentation side, we did a lot of like self-improvement through like my team and I. And so how we presented our final project, we took all of our presentations from the other weeks, and then we compiled each presentation together, and then we also provided a physical portfolio to hand out to each of the executives and other decision makers at the time. And yeah, we also compiled like a lot of information from the vendors my team and I interviewed in our time there, and we also like included like a whole bunch of insights, and I guess like the way that stood out the most for our final presentation was how much we improved, like say for like our own like initiative, and like how like my team and I we really put in the work to improve our performance, and like we really worked together, and we really improved like from beginning to end. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great idea for the current Capstone people, for keeping in mind for that big final project at the end. Definitely going to help us out. So I really appreciate those words. Kind of interested, so kind of a follow-up question. What is this portfolio you were talking about? What was included inside of it?
Leo, hold on 1 second. I want to add to that answer that Caesar provided.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So you only here in this program, and you're only competing with yourself. So when I mentioned how phenomenal job Caesar did, he's sorry, Caesar, to put you on the spot, but his improvement in the presentation skills, it was unbelievable. You could
Okay, so
see
it was
how
really
much work he put and effort. It was beautiful to see it in the final presentation.
Oh, thank you.
I think that goes for a lot of us currently in the Capstone program right now. We kind of joined in this program to build up specifically the soft skills that are involved with talking with these high up executives. I know in my first meeting, I know I didn't show it very well in the camera, but my whole body was shaking because Terrence was in there. I mean, I heard C, and that was enough to make me shake in my boots. But as we're going on, it becomes a lot more less nerve-wracking because you're working with these people, every week. And you get a little bit more comfortable, and the style in which you present the information seems as which one that you know what you're talking about. And it really boosts morale and confidence when you're able to do something like that. So definitely asking this question to Caesar really helped me show like that, yes, there will be those soft skills at the end of the tunnel, that I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you, Leo. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. No, good. From what I've heard, good job for you guys. But yeah, for that second question, what was in this portfolio that you added?
It was sort of like a compiled summary of why we're recommending this specific software, and how it can benefit Fulton County's like goals and mission and goals as like and with respect to like the training program for their employees, and for the major departments as well, and all county departments.
Got you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the idea. Everyone, thank you for presenting. I just don't have any questions for you guys. You guys did a really good job, and I got some good information from you guys, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, Leo.
Yeah, thank you, Leo.
Please don't be afraid to ask questions. Terrence, Mr. Terrence. Terrence?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Oh, good afternoon, Terrence.
Good afternoon, Terrence.
Terrence.
Terrence, do you have a question?
Sorry, here, my screen's jumping around a little bit. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great seeing everybody, Nate and Thelma and Sadna. I had a question mostly for Nate, but I wanted to share a quick experience I had, personal experience. You know, when I was in college, I majored in mathematics, minored in computer science. In my third year in college, all the addition and subtraction in my major went away. And I was like, oh my God, what have I got myself into? From that point on, all my coursework was pure theory, theorem proof. So I was listening to Nate's story, and I wanted to kind of pull on that thread, Nate, your experience where you were already working, right, as a journalist, right?
Yes.
What was that aha moment for you where you realized that this is not what I want to do? Because I think a lot of times we come into a program like this and we think this is what we want to do, but a lot of times the learning experience is not what you want to do, but what you don't want to do. So I wanted to kind of pull on that thread with Nate a little bit.
Yeah, so it was a couple of different factors. I wasn't necessarily disappointed in my career at the time. I was, starting out. I was at a small paper up in Ohio, so I certainly wasn't, big in journalism yet. But that had been what I wanted to do for as long as I can remember, and I had the idea as I wanted to pursue a specific type of journalism. I wanted to go more into tech journalism because I really appreciate tech and technology. And I figured I should probably go back to school, maybe get in that. And then I was like, well, I'll go into the tech industry for 10 years and get like actual industry experience before I go write about it. And for now, that's still the plan, is maybe 15 years down the road, I'll be a tech reporter and use my experience. But for now, I keep getting more and more into my new career path and enjoying it a lot more than I was my journalism experience. So I don't know if there was necessarily one aha moment. I mean, there was a day where I decided I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to, get a second bachelor's and I'm going to go into the tech industry. But it wasn't necessarily I was upset with what I was. I just wanted to pivot my career a little bit. And I think it's important, if you ever feel that situation, you're not stuck in what you graduate with. You're not stuck in your first job. You can always pivot your career. You can always, try something new and be open to new opportunities.
Thank you, Nate. Kevin, you have next question?
Hi, I had a question for Nate. I don't know if you know, but I think I lived down the street from you in Cambridge. I don't know if you remember, but I'm pretty sure good friends with like your brother.
My brother is friends with a lot of people.
Yeah,
but most likely, yes.
But my question for you was, what was your mentality going into your new career? Because I know it's a big challenge to switch your majors, and like, what was your mentality, and like, how did you go about thinking about doing like this new career that you wanted, and like how you stayed focused and overcame like that adversity, I guess?
Yeah, there was a lot of, it kind of took time and convincing myself to just go in with it. I think there was internally a little resistance on my part when I was switching careers. I was like, well, I'll still, do journalism on the side. I'll still like blog for free time, where I tried joining the Signal at Georgia State. And bit by bit, just kind of my clinging to journalism just kind of fell away. I mean, I still love the craft, but I as I got more and more into tech, I clung less and less to this old idea of like, oh, there was a lot of like internal feeling that I was like abandoning my, like what I had wanted to do for such a long time. And once I got over that and I told myself like, no, I'm not abandoning it. It's not a bad thing to change your career. It's not a bad thing to go out and embrace a new, a new opportunity. Once I got over that kind of a little bit of self-guilt, I just went all in, and now, I mean, it's my entire life now is basically programming. So just having an open mind, I guess, is really the important thing. Don't feel like you're giving up on something when you are changing. Be excited for the new thing. Don't be sad about the old thing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Good question. I'm gonna put you on the spot if you're not gonna raise your hand. I see Leo again. Leo, give me a second. I just want to see if somebody else want to ask a question. Anybody wants to, from the code automation team, ask questions? You have Sadna, she was part of the code automation. That's a good time to ask questions.
I'm curious where that project's going.
Yes. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember our final presentation, and
I was so proud of you guys.
And
Jaharia, you have a question?
Yes, it was like she went over with this before. Like I was wondering, because it was broken into 3 different parts in phase 3. How did you guys collaborate? And yeah, so three team, right? So it was one of my. I was wondering how you guys collaborated and got together the project at the end, and
the Capstone project, you mean?
yes.
So could you come again with a question? I'm not sure I really followed it.
Okay, so the project was, the core automation project was divided into three groups, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So going over the documents you guys have made, and how did you guys collaborated with, like, at end of the project to put it as a one?
Yeah. So yeah, we were on paper, we were 3 different teams, but we made sure we had those regular meetings to understand where they were, because especially our team was dependent on the other 2 teams for us to come up with the final dashboard. So it was really crucial for us to understand where the other teams were for us to proceed. So we made sure we had the right communication and right meetings with the team, understand where they were, or have those necessary meetings with the clients to to bring them up with whatever was being done. So I think the key is to communicate and have those integration kind of meetings with the teams, and you have to. And the whole point of the whole crux of it was we didn't think of us as 3 different teams. On paper, yes, we were 3 different teams, but what we did was we made sure we were in constant touch. And we had Michael, who was the common point of contact for us, so we made sure we communicated with him and the rest of us. So I think communication was the key, and that's how we could bring what we did ultimately.
You did.
Yeah.
I called you guys Core Automation Hub.
Yeah. Yeah. And ultimately, when we actually presented, everybody really liked it, and I hope you guys are having a good time working on the next phase of the project.
Yes, we are. Thank you for the information. Yeah, we're working it, and you guys did a really good job.
Thank you.
Sadna, can you also elaborate how your skills, your communication skills, help your teammate, Elmer?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing was, since I had some background in IT, I made sure whenever we had calls, I sent out the meeting minutes. That's so important. It's a very small thing, but it helps you so much. You have meetings that go on for maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and by the end of it, you completely forget what was discussed, or maybe you missed out on certain points. So make note of everything that is discussed and have that one point of contact in your team to send out the meeting minutes, because it's absolutely crucial. Documentation in any kind, in any way, and this will help you even in your careers going forward. Whenever you have those client meetings, have it documented, send out the meeting minutes. And that's something that Omar learned, Omar, my teammate. And documentation is so important. I think that that's one thing that I told Omar, and it will definitely help you. Even to this day, whenever I have those client meetings, it's so easy to, you know, go back and see, okay, this was what was discussed and this is what we need to work on, and this was all agreed upon. So that one skill, please develop, and it will really help you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sadna. He also learned to speak up from you as well with Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was a very nice collaboration.
Yeah.
I really like to watch that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We divided things between us. We made sure both of us had the right exposure. And since I had some experience, I made sure he got the right kind of exposure in a way to showcase his talents, his strengths, and whatever weakness. I wouldn't say weakness, but then since he was a fresher, he had a lot of questions. He used to come up with his questions. Maybe he asked me how to, you know, approach a particular problem. So that's something that we developed, and I think that showed in the way we, you know, presented our presentations or even had those client discussions. So that's one more thing that maybe, you know, it was a team effort, and that's how I hope it helped him.
Yes, I love to see how you guys learning from each other, not only from me, but you guys learning from me, from the sponsors, and from each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Leo, go ahead.
So hello everyone again. This question's for Thelma. I definitely should have asked this the first time I've raised my hand, but I just totally forgot to. But I wanted to get back to it. What you talked about, having multiple different interviews, getting ready for the one interview that you really want to have. I found that as a very interesting way of mindset, really. So personally, I have two interviews under my belt. I think I did like respectively pretty well in them, but are you basically trying to propose to us that, hey, just try to find any interview, even though it's a job you don't want to have, but get into an interview just to be able to expose yourself to these kind of questions that the people are going to be asking you. Is that kind of what you're suggesting?
Yes, that's for the most part, yes, because what that does, it helps you learn to be a little more comfortable sitting in front of an interviewer, you know, and also not just, of course, I wouldn't suggest you go for an interview in McDonald's if you're trying to go into the IT industry, you know.
Right.
You can interview within, you know, within your, even though it's a company you don't ultimately plan to work there, or you never know, you can start from there if they do offer you the job. But the main goal here is to get you comfortable answering interview questions that are kind of centered around your field, you know, technical interview questions. Because when you go for an interview for IT related jobs, there are certain questions they will ask you that are a little bit different from the regular general, you know, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses kind of questions. Those are questions you'll find in any field, but they might ask you, for example, to write a code that does XYZ. You know, if you're a programmer or if you have some programming background, you know, you need to get comfortable, you know, facing those kind of questions. Because when I first started interviewing, because like I said, I'd, you know, worked in other fields before coming into IT myself. When I first started interviewing, and they would ask me simple logic questions, you know, IT coding logic questions, I would draw a blank, because in my head I'm not expecting you to ask me, you know, code related questions or whatever. But it could just be simple, you know, they might not necessarily require you to write the actual code. It might just be pseudo code or something, or they might ask you questions like, you know, if you were going to write a code that does so and so, would you write a method to get to calculate date, or would you use a date function? You know, like just questions that are they might not be really difficult. And I can't remember who it was. I think it was Farhan or somebody, one of my teammates in the internship program. When I told him about how I did an interview and I got stumped when they asked me a particular code question, which was a basic, simple question. So he recommended, I'll have to look for I still get emails from it now. He recommended a site that I could sign up on where they basically send you daily, they send you code questions.
Mm-hmm.
So like possible interview code questions that Google might ask you or Amazon might ask you if you go to interview with them. Then they send you different types. They have simple, medium, and I forgot the third level, but 3 different levels of coding questions or tech related interview questions that you might face in an interview with Google or with, I don't know who runs that website, but it looks like they compile.
Thelma, when you're going to find that site, can you post that site on the FCCOE?
Okay. Yeah,
Thank you.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so basically I just signed up for it, and every day I would get a code question sent to me by email, right? And just practice with that. Hacker, no, I don't know if it's hack. Let me see
that one.
No, it's daily code something. Let me see. I'm sure they've sent me a code question today. Daily coding problem. That's the email that it comes from, but I'll have to look for the.
It's okay, Thelma. It's a good resource. Put that in the group.
Yeah. I'll look for it. So basically, it just gets you in the whether you're going in for SQL, database management or programming in C# or whatever. Just look for interview opportunities to interview so you can get used to answering some of those kind of questions, so that when you do get to the point where you to start interview or you want to interview for a particular company, yes, that's the one, dailycodingproblem.com. There you go. Nate has it. Thank you, Nate. So yeah, so just get in that frame of mind of getting ready to answer interview questions.
And
some of them will send you an interview, a coding problem, and give you a day, 1 or 2 days to do the coding problem and submit it. Some might just give it to you right there and tell you to do it online and give you like 30 minutes to do it. So you kind of want to get used to being able to do on the spot or more complex coding questions. So they have different ways that they'll interview you on the phone, they'll send you coding problems, different stages that you go through. So you kind of want to get used to doing it before you actually need to do it for that one company that you want to work for.
Okay.
And one more thing, Leo, is just to add on, they don't expect you to know everything, okay? One thing is your confidence maybe, or the way you approach things are some of the things that could really help you. It's not always, that you have to get the right thing on the plate. They even see your approach, they see your confidence when you're answering things. I think these are some other things that you could really add on to whenever you're preparing for an interview. So these are the things that you could really work upon.
Right, of course. It sounded interesting. From what I'm gathering, it kind of sounded like, Thelma, it kind of sounded like you just went into interviews just to be tested in a way.
Well, for me, right, I was interviewing to get a job.
Yeah.
But I started early before I was even ready to finish my program, right? While I was still interning, like I didn't wait till the end of my internship and then start interviewing. Right. And so because I started, like, I think one of the first real interview I had was the one at Fulton County, where Justina, told me about a position, that was coming up. And I wasn't really prepared for it because I hadn't really started interviewing, like for like when I say interviewing, like technical type interview situations, right? I hadn't really started preparing in that regard. And so I wasn't prepared for it when it happened. Like, but the company I'm working with now, I'm coding in C#, right? And C# background. When I interviewed for a C# and .NET, really wasn't my background. All I did in school was Java and I did Python, just not.
I think Thelma's internet is not working properly.
Yep. Looks like
Yes,
Zoom
maybe,
gave out.
yes, maybe she can come back to this question later, to this answer. So let's two more questions and we're gonna conclude. Anybody else has a question for the panelists? Shaharian, do you have a question or you have still your hands is raised from the previous question?
I'm sorry, it's from the previous questions.
Previous question, okay. I'm gonna pick somebody if you guys are not gonna ask question.
I was going to say I can talk to everybody here for a very long time.
Yeah, I know, but that's your strength, and we want to make sure that everyone is learning.
Of course.
That's an opportunity for the learning. This is learning experience. Okay, there you go. Mohammed.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So I'm currently in the core automation team. So I guess this would be a question for Sadhana. How was the collaborating process for you with the two other groups that you were in?
I think that question was already in a way asked,
In a
correct?
way.
Yeah. So, well, you need to know, it's as simple as, setting up those meetings and ask questions, without asking questions or without communication, you'll never be able to accomplish what you want to. So the key is to get the right people involved and ask the right questions and make sure everything is as you need. So the key is to take ownership, schedule those meetings and have those necessary discussions, calls, whatever. And don't be shy to ask questions, or don't be shy to take that ownership to have those necessary meetings set up. Go ahead. If you want to know something, just go ahead, schedule those meetings. If they're not free at that time, they'll let you know. But then take that first step, have those discussions, and that's how you'll be able to succeed as a team. Otherwise, if you don't open up, or if you don't take ownership, then you'll never, your answers will never be, your questions will never be answered, basically. So that's my advice to you. Ask questions, take ownership, schedule meetings, and get it done.
Yes, and their group me was utilized to the maximum.
Yeah. Communication is key either way, even in real life situations where I'm working right now. I'm working with Guidehouse. Communication, and you should never fear, no question is a silly question, or nothing is, you shouldn't feel shy about it, or you shouldn't feel conscious about it. So just go there, be confident, ask questions, and get it resolved.
Thank you, Sadna. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank
we have
you.
another question. Ali?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So my question is, how well or what steps do you guys take to adapt to a new situation or a new environment? Let's say you guys were working on one particular program. Let's say if you're coding in Java or Python and that's your strength, but now you need to adapt to a new system. Let's say you go into C++. What steps do you take to get into that comfort zone again, where you were within Python, but now you got to go into a new software and you have to deliver within that new software in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. The response would be different. So if you have a lot of time, maybe go up, take certifications, and get yourself equipped with the necessary skills. But if it's a short period and you don't have a lot of time to really work on the certifications, and you have to deliver something quickly, get in touch. Networking, networking is so important. Get in touch with the right kind of people who can guide you the right way. And take their help, understand what's the crux of it, and develop your skills. Do your self study, do your research, and I think everything ties up to communication. Get in touch with networking is so important. Networking with the right kind of people is so important. So get in touch with those Java or Python gurus that you might have in your organization or within your team. Get in touch, ask the right kind of questions, ask your doubts, and that's how you will develop, and that's how you will start learning, and have a lot of hands-on if it's possible. And if you have a lot of time, make sure you have the right certifications on your plate, get them done, and that's how you will be able to, and it's a process. It's not going to happen immediately. You have to put in a little bit of your efforts, and with the help of really knowledgeable folks, you'll master your skill.
Thank you.
And
So let me
and
jump in and answer that question too, since I kind of had some experience with that myself. Because like I said, when I was in school, most of my background, most of what I was learning was in Java, right? And then I did a project or two in Python. But when I started working, because I work with a community credit union, and when I started working, I don't know if you know anything about what kind of platforms they use, but they use a language called PowerRun, basically. And I'd never heard of it before. Most of the work that I do is in PowerRun, and then I do C# for other applications, some of the other applications. And I didn't have a background in C#. So for me, the first thing that I did with the PowerRun, because again, like I said, I'd never even heard of it when I started. So I got my supervisor gave me access to an electronic document, right? Documentation for the different, how to use PowerRun and the Scimitar system that we use and all of that. And so for the most part, a lot of what I was doing was if I'm given an assignment to write a code to pull XYZ report or do anything in particular, the first thing I'll do is I'll look in our database to see if somebody has done something similar to that, right? And try to take advantage of what they have and what they've done before and use some of what is in there. And I'll also reference the documentation that I was given. So I was kind of learning, self-teaching myself on the job. And then another thing that is, when it comes to programming, I don't know if your background, Ali, is in programming. When it comes to programming, there's nothing you can't find on the internet. I think most of programming is learned by Stack Overflow. Google. If there's, because you might be writing a whole code for something, you might be writing a huge a project or whatever. Some of the bits and pieces of the code that you need, you can find online. If you know what the logic is behind what you're trying to do, you can always Google and you get Stack Overflow has a lot of helpful information on there. You can always go and find bytes of code where you need it that will help you in what you're trying to do. And then another thing, like she said, ask questions. If you have colleagues who have been there longer than you have and you're working on something and you get stuck, ask somebody some questions, because they might have done something similar to what you're doing. Don't spend 3 hours trying to figure something out when you can ask someone and they can give you, guide on where you can find what you need. Then the last thing that I would recommend, because a lot of times we don't realize the resources that we have because we're not asking. When I had my end of year review last year, and my supervisor was asking me, what are some of the things that I would like to see that would help me better do my job. I asked if the company had any training opportunities for .NET and C# and whatnot. And it turns out that the company has a relationship with a training organization that they pay to train. They pay them, they pay a subsidized fee. So it's almost like a boot camp. So the company basically paid for, in fact, the whole of last week I was in training for .NET Core, paid for by the company. Sometimes you have resources like that, but if you don't ask, you won't know. Like if your background is in Java and they are primarily coding in C# in the company, you can ask. Sometimes they have a library of resources. Like the company I work with has this whole library of all things programming, not just any one language or any one area in particular, and some of it might not even be related to your actual job, but the resources are there. So ask, and ask.
I'll tack on to that a little bit, because my experience is pretty much almost the exact same as Thelma's, and she has really good points. I won't reiterate them. Definitely utilize the resources you have, especially early on, like when you first come in. If you're new to this tech stack that they're using, they don't expect you to be an expert on day one. Definitely ask questions. It's better to ask a question when you're a month in than when you're a year in, because by the time you're a year in, you should probably know it. But a month in, you can kind of play the the rookie card, which use that to your advantage. It also just goes to show that, you know, especially in coding and programming, it's really with any job, it's your willingness to learn. So it's not necessarily you have to be an expert in Java to get a job as a Java developer. You have to hopefully have a little bit of experience with it, but be willing to learn and improve yourself. And that's a way to get your foot in the door. So not necessarily about what you know, but what you're willing to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What I would recommend is adding on to what Nate said before, like your willingness to learn is really important, and how like you're willing to like seek out learning resources, and like being like what I heard is being teachable is like really important, like being open to learning new things, and also there's like a lot of learning resources out there. Like there's a lot of learning resources like tutorials on YouTube, for example, or there's also really good classes on LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, and I did as for my experience, like I did like this really neat project, Tableau project on Udemy, and like say if you're trying to learn Tableau, for example, you can use what you learned in that project to help you make your own projects, and then build on your skills from there. And yeah, also networking is really important as well. Like you can also seek like help, or ask another person for what resources helped them in their journey to learn like Java or Python or Tableau.
There's one thing I've seen from other developers is that if people who know a language usually know it because they love it and they love talking about it and teaching other people about it. So it's definitely easy to find somebody who is an expert in one language or whatever, and they'll definitely help you out. Most for the most of the time.
And now they have you as a resource.
Well, I don't know. I'm not necessarily an expert on anything, but
it's always good to get the feedback. A question. I think you guys have through Georgia State, lynda.com. It's for free. Is it? Lynda.com. Do you guys know that or not?
I believe it's included with the student bundle thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, LinkedIn Learning. Yeah.
LinkedIn Learning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because lynda.com became the LinkedIn Learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lynda.com was bought by the. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Hong. Thank you. So utilize that resource for your benefits until you have it, until you're a student, because after that, you're going to have to pay. Dr. Hong, you have a permission to talk if you want to say something.
No, I don't. I just love to see all these familiar faces back to offer and advices to the Capstone students. Yeah, it's very interesting from different perspectives. Thank you all, the panelists.
Thank you, Dr. Hong.
Thank you, Dr. Hong.
Thank you, Dr. Hong.
Yeah, wish you all could come often.
Yeah. Yeah. Minus the pandemic, yes, we could have met again.
Yep, for sure.
I'm still waiting, for the pandemic to get over so that I can meet Justina in person.
Yeah.
I know. So Sadna, she was the first, she's part of the first group that entire program was online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no one expect to last this long. And it looks like the summer will be online too.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but we are making the best out of it. So I'm glad we were able to have the largest group. And we did it fantastic. So I'm very proud of you. I think on this note, I think we can conclude. Thank you so much to all the panelists. Anyone would like to mention something?
Definitely. Thank you, Justina. Thank you for
Yeah, Justina, this is a wonderful program.
Thank you, Dr. Hong. Appreciate you. Thank you for that feedback.
So guys, if you're looking out for any referrals, anything pertaining to job opportunities, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm available on LinkedIn, and here's my email ID. So if at all you need any help whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to me. I can either help you directly or help you go to somebody who can help you. So and all the very best. Make the most of the Capstone project, and
Sadna, are you on the FCCOE as well?
Believe she is.
Yeah, I think she's. Nathan, you should know.
Well, she's from the group that she was from the group
actually,
after.
my team should ask you a question.
Okay.
Lotta, actually, Nathan, hold on a second.
Yeah, I mean, I like Nate's equipment there. He looks like a very professional. Look at the microphone, the earphone. Oh, geez.
I do podcasting sometimes. So.
Oh, you do? That's no wonder.
Yes, yes.
I'm sure you have this lighting too, right?
I need better lighting in here.
So Lotta, I actually allow you to talk. Nathan, he was the first person that started collecting all the, and he built actually database for all the Capstone students and interns.
Did that ever go into production?
They're actually working on it right now. They're working on the visualization. We're working on the landing page. We have one team that is working on the landing page and one team that is working on data analytics.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm part of the analytics visualization databasing team, and we're looking at what you put together before and trying to transfer it to Tableau.
Sorry, it's a mess.
Yeah, we're just organizing it and things like that, and we're getting through it.
Glad the data's being